Asia CEO is really a sought-after brand and recognition among the private sector.
I work abroad as an OFW, and I've seen the experience of how Filipino were treated that time. So I always thought of creating an event someday to really recognize Filipinos and also market Philippines.
Let's present Philippines in a positive light. And the goal is expand your business, start your business, move your business to Philippines, hire Filipinos. They're good people to work with, and you'll do well. That's the goal.
Way back when we were the poor or sick country of Asia, and now if you take a look at, for example, the BPO industry, we're #1 in the world. There's a lot of potential for the country, and if we are really going to see fruition that we are going to be one of the top economies by 2050, I think it is very important for us to really pool our resources together.
And we always believe from the beginning that this association was the right medium, the right structure, and the right outfit to really put the Philippine business community on top of the agenda for the Filipino people and also for the international community.
Well, it gives me a fantastic insight in terms of how broad the industries are and how many different types of successes that are contributing to the growth and inclusive growth of this nation.
We have to create a future where our next generation of talent and leaders is prepared for all of the new opportunities that will present themselves.
Asia CEO Forum is very unique because it is more than any other forum emphasizing that this is about nation building.
Economic growth is a very wide subject, and Asia CEO Forum always find the right angle with the right topic at the right time to talk about, and that's why there is such attraction to these events.
They connect people, but they also create a platform for transfer of best practices, best knowledge.
I believe in the vision of Richard and Rebecca. I think they have this vision to help make the Philippines a first world country in 2030.
And with our partnership together, I know that we're achieving a lot of things.
Thank you for what you're doing. We applaud your efforts. We're proud and happy to be your partners.
We encourage other companies to join in and be a sponsor, and I'm very, very sure that they'll find it worthwhile.
The difference between mankind and other species is our ingenuity. Throughout history, we've learned to invent and reinvent for the better. From the way we learn, transact, consume, care, and serve, adversity allows us to transform. Sure, industries will live and die. Life will change, but it beckons us to begin again, to live again. Just open your eyes and see.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving Father, fount of all goodness, the leader of our success, we thank you for being with us always, for leading us and for supporting us, most especially during this period of crisis. Gracious Lord, the recent year has been truly challenging for all of us and for the country's economy. Yet, with your loving providence and never-failing care, amidst all the struggles and difficulties brought about by this pandemic, we stand firm and rising. Inspire us as we share insights and as we prepare to face the future. Impart to us in your wisdom in all our endeavors and decisions. Allow the spirit of cooperation and concern to bring us together in all our undertakings. May we grow in our relationship with one another as we work together towards our goals. Remind us continually that we can always count on your assistance as we go beyond and overcome this COVID crisis. May we always filled with joy and thanksgiving in all our endeavors, knowing that you're always here with us. With hearts full of gratitude and jubilation, we ask all these through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Please all rise for the Philippine National Anthem.
Welcome everyone to this edition of Asia CEO Forum. We've got an economy update for the year and a lot going on. So we really want to see and hear what the story is. It's confusing for everyone, both in Philippines and throughout the world. So we'll have an update from the key leaders of the tourism sector hit dramatically hard. Agriculture, where are we with that? Infrastructure and transportation. So stay tuned, and so glad to have you with us for this Asia CEO Forum. Special guest to start the event. Our friend is Al PANLILIO. He is President CEO of Smart Communications, also Chief Revenue Officer of PLDT, and really a high flyer, and certainly a key part of surviving the pandemic was our telecom connection. So he's going to give us an update about that, I hope. Also, a very strong proponent of sport in Philippines. I didn't know this, but he's president of SPB, which is the National Sports Association for Basketball in the nation, and also on the board of the Philippine Olympic Committee. So really a force to be reckoned with in different areas. So please welcome.
Thank you very much, Richard, and nice seeing you, and thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone, people in the forum, and I'm really glad to be here. I'm here to talk about the progress of the Philippines telco sector and PLDT Smart's role in it. The Philippines telecommunications industry is continuously developing over the years. We can say that the speed of digitization got so much faster in the past year at an unprecedented rate for reasons that, in retrospect, we could not have ever anticipated. Nonetheless, it only contributed to the technology that we leverage on today. Time spent on the internet by Filipinos, which has been the highest among other Asian countries, led to the higher demands for broadband services, both in quantity and quality. Furthermore, the continuing appetite in communicating through mobile phones, accessing information through the internet, streaming and downloading videos, saw the rapidly growing mobile phone internet user penetration in the Philippines double what was forecasted the past year. Connectivity being a primary necessity puts telco in a good position to help our country and the whole of Asia get back on their feet, PLDT and Smart being the only integrated telco in the Philippines have the upper hand, with entailing responsibilities to offer a range of products and services to our countrymen today and post-COVID. The surge of digital users in the country, which has been on the rise exponentially, is complemented by PLDT's aggressive fiber connectivity expansion, keeping in mind that the dependable broadband connection and higher internet speed are what it takes for a good user experience. It cannot be just one or the other. PLDT has invested in modernizing fixed infrastructures, hence the expansion of fiber in all areas of the country, including the unserved and the underserved. While the fixed line segment remains steady and growing, the mobile segment is dominating the market. The shift to mobile-based access of communicating has seen a rapid increase of mobile phone subscriptions in the country. Smart works very, very hard to meet this demand, allowing consumers access to high-speed internet at any given time and place and enabling their passion points on top of it. This is really empowerment despite the crisis, and it allows us to be part of the growth and healing of the people. 5G is quickly gaining momentum and is catching everyone's attention and interest. The fact that it's no longer just broadband, but ultra-wideband has started its own craze. On the business side, it promises to be the most stable foundation for enterprise growth and progress. To enhance 5G customer experience, we deployed high-performance 5G capacity and coverage features. Last December, we became the first in Asia Pacific to deploy 5G carrier aggregation. Our subscribers are now able to enjoy the super-fast data services of Smart 5G across the nation. As part of our ongoing 5G rollout, Smart has fired up close to 1,500 5G sites in the Philippines, the most extensive by far, and this will continue in more areas in the country. We're also the first in Southeast Asia to test 5G standalone. This introduces the massive IoT and ultra-reliable low-latency services for enterprise businesses. This will play a critical role in industry automation, healthcare, and smart cities. This will bring our speed at par or even better than ASEAN leaders in the global internet speed ranking, which is very important to us. We've been benchmarking ourselves not against competition in the Philippines, but really our neighboring countries. That will be our benchmark. For our consumer segment, it opens the door to an even higher level of customer experience in terms of enjoying high-definition video, playing esports, and using new digital services. We are enabling 5G and IoT as innovation platforms to empower our enterprise customers in the Philippines to complete and compete in the global digital marketplace. Also in the global scene, we have forged 5G roaming partnerships with the world's top operators in Taiwan, South Korea, and United Arab Emirates to deliver world-class roaming services as travel restrictions relax post-mass vaccination. There are still many more exciting things to come in 5G, so watch out. Our job is to make sure that we continue to provide superior data network and the most effective partnership to make the experience of our customers better than anybody can offer. You're no longer just a telco or data service provider. What we have is a real partnership with our customers by offering them meaningful engagement and the technology that is needed to enrich their lives in this rapidly evolving world. We offer various platforms that allow Filipinos to keep in pace with the times and accelerate their own digital transformation. E-learning, telecommuting, e-commerce, and e-health. Changes that affect individuals, families, businesses, and government simultaneously. On the ICT side, we have seen a surge in uptake of data center services, much of which is driven by e-commerce, therefore making it very important for us to offer cybersecurity to the market. We're enabling more businesses with the means to become more digital and likewise providing individuals with both an improved network and improved solutions. Beyond connectivity, we commit to being active enablers by inspiring Filipinos to find purpose in everything they do and live smarter for a better world. We champion change and ensure that our vision is attained. PLDT and SMART are in the best position to influence progress. With our strong foothold in innovation, we empower our customers to act upon their passion and ability to make a difference, to subscribe to great and not just settle for just good. We constantly devote time and efforts in imagining, inventing, and investing in the future, and ensure that we lead through digital disruption rather than simply reacting to it. This goes beyond the confines of our organization as we understand our significance in rebuilding our nation. Our current advocacies and future plans will convey our purpose of enriching the lives of every Filipino as they rediscover the value of their home, strengthen their economic abilities, stay connected whatever they are, do their part in our own nation's recovery, and ultimately create a better world to live in. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, Al, well, that's interesting. And I know, yeah, I've heard stories of all of the work PLDT people have been doing over the pandemic to keep everybody connected. So everybody appreciates it. But Al, what are some of the opportunities Philippines has on the telecom side? I've heard a little bit about this, what the industry calls hyperscalers. What is that all about, and why could that be an opportunity here?
Yeah, I think Richard, that is a great opportunity really for the country. Of course, for PLDT and SMART. No, I mean, I'm sure you remember the days when the BPO industry was very, very hot. When, in fact, even our own, I think, if I recall, DTI secretary then, Marojas, went on a roadshow abroad to sell the Philippines as a BPO center to the big companies abroad. I think the hyperscalers offer us a similar opportunity. I think we are proud to say that PLDT, we have the most extensive data center facilities in the country, tier 3 data centers here, and there's a great opportunity for us to really make the Philippines the regional transit hub for a lot of these hyperscalers, the likes of Google, Facebook, Amazon, and Microsoft. For various reasons, I guess a lot of them are in Hong Kong today, and due to geopolitical reasons, I think they're looking for a different location. And the Philippines offers a very great opportunity or option for the hyperscalers to come over.
I see. And well, also on the sports side, that you're so involved in that, both on the basketball side, the Olympic side. I heard that Japan is still trying to run their Olympics. But what about the impact of that over that whole sector? Because that's a lot of people during the pandemic. Yeah. And what's the future for that?
Yeah, I guess sports for me is something close to my heart. I've learned a lot of I feel like a lot, even in the corporate world, Richard, I think we use a lot of the attributes we learn when we play sports in the corporate world, no? Teamwork, making sure you excel and learn your craft. You have roles in the team. You have the same goals and same aspirations. So making sure that you help each other out. So I think it's similar. A lot of these attributes are true too in the corporate world. That has had a major impact. Obviously, this pandemic has a major impact in the sports industry. But again, I think technology has been able to bridge that gap. No? I mean, if you look at the NBA, even the PBA here locally, we're able to still continue playing with the use of smart 5G to cover these games. We have MS Teams. You have virtual fans watching the games, and so it's also through technology that we're able to bring this content, especially in a time when people want to do something, want to see something, and really sports is again an avenue where people get together and people enjoy sports, right? So it has been a challenge, but I think slowly it's opening up. But as I said, technology has helped in making certain sports events still happen. Tokyo, I think, is still going to push through. I think of course, Japan is hell bent in making sure that happens. Hopefully, vaccines are rolled out faster so that also people can also watch. I think they're limiting spectators at this point, but I think it's athletes have been practicing for this for years, and it's unfair to them if the games don't push through.
I see. So, and the Philippine team, then they're all ready for all this. I guess they've.
Yeah, very difficult because as athletes, you want to start peaking at a certain time, and if you if you don't have an idea when the actual games will start, then it's very difficult in your training. But all Filipino athletes are still want to obviously wear the flag on their chests, and they want to basically represent the country. And so they're still working hard. We have boxers, we have gymnasts, we have a gymnast, we have a weightlifter, and hopefully other sports will also come in to really compete and try to compete and hopefully win our first gold medal. We haven't won a gold medal in the Philippines, so that's our dream.
Okay, very good. We'll keep up the great work, Al, and we'll look forward to seeing all your progress. So, like I said, great work, you and your team.
Thank you so much, Richard. Thank you for having me again. Thank you.
Very much a pleasure. Our next speaker is TONETTE Velasco. She is the Chief Operating Officer of the Tourism Promotions Board. And as everybody knows, tourism has been an industry that has been hit so hard. It's such an important industry for the nation and the world. And she has had the time of her life trying to get this industry back on its feet and moving forward. So we wish her well, and we're looking forward to just an interesting story about all that she is doing. Please welcome TONETTE Velasco of the Tourism Promotion Board. Welcome, TONETTE.
Let me start by greeting our women CEOs a happy Women's Month. And thank you to our gentlemen CEOs for your constant support to us women as we fulfill our roles for our country's development and progress. Tourism plays a central role in our economic development. And as policymakers and stakeholders are looking at ways to adapt the tourism sector's product offerings, we are prioritizing domestic tourism to support our economic recovery. Enhanced health and safety measures have been implemented to align our hotels, tourism sites, and other services with the demands of the new normal. And our pivot towards digitalization and the use of technology to upskill the workforce is preparing the tourism sector for our present and future challenges. Let me give you a brief introduction to how we are structured in the sector. The DOT is the tourism industry's main regulator, and its overseas offices, 12 of them, likewise help market the Philippines. The TPB is responsible for designing promotions and marketing campaigns. And TIESA, the Tourism Infrastructure and Economic Zone Authority, helps to drive investments in designated areas through fiscal and non-fiscal incentives. Created in 2009, it develops, manages, and supervises tourism infra projects, as well as designing, regulating, and supervising TEZs. We have a national tourism development plan, which was crafted to cover 2016 until 2022, and it provides the framework guiding the tourism industry's development. It seeks to pursue sustainability and socially responsible tourism. And the plan identified 20 tourism clusters across the country, each including priority tourism development areas. designed with the aim of doubling tourism revenues and increasing the number of inbound visitors. Right now, we are updating the National Tourism Development Plan for it to be aligned with the updated Philippine Development Plan. What are our prospects for international tourism arrivals? The pandemic was a setback for our goal of having 9.2 million foreign visitors last year. In March 2020, when we closed our borders to leisure foreign arrivals, we have seen that the arrivals dropped 73% in the first 7 months of 2020. And for almost 3/4 of the year last year, mobility restrictions on business operations and domestic travel also adversely affected the potential for domestic travelers to make up for international visitors. Our tourism revenue fell by 72% on a year-on-year basis, and that amounts to about 81 billion pesos. While the Philippines is expected to remain closed to most foreign travelers through mid-2021, the IATF, for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, has constituted a technical working group to review the ban on entry of foreign visitors and hopefully pave the way to allow them to now visit the country. Looking ahead, a 2020 July survey by the Pricewaterhouse of around 250 businesses in tourism-related segments found that 79% of the respondents were actually optimistic about recovery of tourism by mid this year, while 21% expected a longer time frame for our recovery. The forecast, however, shows that international arrivals would bounce back in the medium term from an estimated 3.9 million in 2020 to 6.2 million by 2024. I'm also pleased to share with you that in terms of our hotel infrastructure situation, we have noted that as visitor arrivals grew over the 2010 to 2019 period, our hotel infra expanded by an average of 2,000 hotel rooms per year, with around 2,800 rooms completed in 2018. Real estate consultancy Colliers initially expected 6,870 new hotel rooms to be constructed between 2020 to 2022, but these projections have been revised, and now hotel room construction has slowed down to 375 rooms in the first half of 2020. Nonetheless, Colliers still expects that some 1,725 rooms will enter the market by the end of this year. Our hotel occupancy rate had an average of 72% in 2019, but it fell to 50% in April and May last year amid travel restrictions. The average daily room rates in Metro Manila fell by 30.4% from $79 in the second half of 2019 to only about $55 by the end of 2020. But there's also future in our domestic tourism and the push for the MICE sector. A Department of Tourism survey released in June 2020 reported willingness to travel domestically among the respondents upon easing of restrictions, with preference for destinations which are closer to home, although Boracay, Siargao, and Baguio were also named as top preferred destinations. With regard to priority tourism activities, beach trips ranked the highest, selected by 69% of respondents as a likely reason for them to travel, followed by road trips at 54% and doing staycations at 41%. In early September 2020, the DOT announced a gradual resumption of domestic tourism, which started in October last year. Under this plan, domestic travel bubbles were created within specified regions to facilitate travel while adhering to health mandates. And it's good that the ADB report in September stated that our volume of local tourists could actually offset the Philippines' loss of foreign tourists. So this is one good lever that we need to push to eventually pave the way for economic recovery. The IATF continues to formulate travel protocols for domestic tourists and evolve this to respond to present and emerging situations while giving local government units some room or latitude for location-specific guidelines. This is important because we know that across the world and even here in the country, safety is the new luxury. And so to assist tourism enterprises in complying with evolving health and safety protocols, the Department of Tourism with the Board of Investments have provided for incentives to help our enterprises upgrade and modernize their facilities to ensure the health and safety of our travelers. Included in these incentives is a BOI-led 3-year income tax holiday with a list of eligible projects, including barriers and deionizers in transport, as well as the renovation of hotel rooms and installation of partitions, automatic doors and elevators, thermal scanners, and having ventilations adequate in our hotels. Since May 2020, the DOT has issued health-related guidelines for various industries within the tourism sector, including accommodation facilities, restaurants, MICE, beaches and island operations, transport services, amusements and attractions, among others. These efforts have been recognized by no less than the World Travel and Tourism Council, which in September last year gave the DOT authority to use the Safe Travels stamp and award its use in return to other establishments or enterprises that are found compliant with safety and health protocols. The government also was quick in providing response to COVID-19, with President Duterte signing 2 national stimulus packages with the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act and the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act. These 2 laws provided funding support for various COVID-19 response and recovery initiatives, and combined it amounted to about $8.8 billion to aid various recovery programs. Specific to our sector in tourism, we have allocated 10 billion from the Bayanihan funds for the support of tourism, small, micro, and medium-sized enterprises, while 6 billion was designated for a loan program through the SB Corporation. This is a no collateral, interest-free loans payable in 3 years with 1 grace period for those availing of the loans. There is also 3 billion allocated to assist our displaced tourism workers across the various industries within the tourism, and 1 billion pesos for road infrastructure improvements. Of course, 100 million pesos was specifically allocated to support displaced tour guides. In September 2020, the DOT shifted its accreditation process to an online system. This is part and parcel of our strategic pivot to adopt technology and leverage on digital technologies in support of smart tourism. So the online accreditation process serves as a portal to handle accreditation requests, contactless transactions, and government services, featuring real-time application status and online payments. Technology was also used to sustain the push for our MICE segment. In late September, the PPB conducted FITEX, which was on a hybrid mode with 124 foreign clients in virtual attendance and some of the 161 local tourism providers joining the event physically in Bohol. Our foreign buyers from Africa, Europe, and South America, as well as players from the region, signed into the online platform, generating 4.5 million or about $89,500 worth of future bookings. While 2020 proved to be a challenging year for tourism and our push to encourage domestic travel, our push for domestic travel and staycations provided also partial economic benefits and the impetus for us to actually pave the way towards recovery. Meanwhile, efforts continue to improve infrastructure and adjust to the new normal as we ready hotels, tour operators, and other service providers for the eventual return of international guests, also expected this year. As we roll out the Safe Bangon Turismo this year, and as I have said, safety is the new luxury, I invite you to watch, by way of closing this sharing with you, the readiness or the handa AVP prepared by the Department of Tourism and the Tourism Promotions Board. Thank you very much, and I wish you a prosperous year ahead.
Thank you very much, Attorney TONETTE Velasco of the Tourism Promotion Board. And please keep up the great work you are doing. Tourism, in my view, has the biggest opportunity for Philippines. So we wish her well in her initiatives. Thank you. Our next speaker is Secretary William Dar of the Department of Agriculture. And Secretary William has also had the time of his life keeping agriculture, agribusiness, and food security on track for Filipinos. And I know he has many different programs and initiatives that are just underway. So we're looking forward to an update about all that he is working on. So please welcome Secretary William Dar, a good friend and a heck of a nice fella. Welcome, Secretary William.
Thank you again, Mr. Richard Mills, for this opportunity to give my thoughts in regard to the issues at hand and through the forum, Asia CEO Forum. Good day, everyone. Thank you for inviting me here to share with you updates from the agri-fishery sector. At the Department of Agriculture, we are looking at making 2021 a year of redemption to the agri-fishery sector as we target a growth of 2.5% by the end of the year. And we are confident in achieving this. One reason for this is that despite the tumultuous 2020, the agri-sector only dipped by 0.02%. And now, as we intensify our efforts, coupled with the economy gradually opening up, which means an easing of whatever supply chain restrictions that remain, at 2.5% growth this year is not far from the horizon. For this year, issues on the African swine fever and stabilizing food prices very much remain to be the real problems that we have been dealing with by means of various strategies since 2020, and we are committed to ending the problem this year. On ASF, we have since expanded our support for local producers. One, by providing support in the shipment of live pigs and whole carcasses. The DA is providing a reimbursement of 21 pesos per kilo in shipments across Mindanao, 15 pesos per kilo in Visayas, Ilocos Region, Cagayan Valley, Mimarupa, and Bicol, and 10 peso per kilo in Central Luzon and in Calabarzon. We have also increased our indemnification fund to 10,000 pesos per head from 5,000 pesos, benefiting greater those whose hogs are culled from the African swine fever culling operations. Moreover, we are relaxing requirements to claim eligibility under this program, and we are closely working with relevant government agencies to be able to ensure the timely disbursement of this aid. We have also launched the National Repopulation and Recovery Program for the hog industry, along with the Bantay ASF sa Barangay program that is allocated with a combined public and private investments of 29.6 billion pesos. The twin programs are aimed at effectively controlling the African swine fever and reviving the dampened swine industry. This repopulation program includes a financing program with an initial budget of 500 million pesos for backyard hog raisers, another 27 billion for financing commercial hog raisers. We will be offering the 500 million loan program for backyard hog raisers, zero interest loans payable in 3 to 5 years. Add to this the assurance of indemnification pay. We can encourage backyard and semi-commercial raisers in ASF-free areas and green zones to go back to the business of swine fattening and piglet production. Moreover, the Filipino-made ASF test kits are expected to be rolled out commercially in the next few months. These kits will enable us to more swiftly and more properly implement our containment efforts. Meanwhile, high pork and chicken prices have been successfully tempered with the effective implementation of the price caps in Metro Manila, which we have recommended to the President. For this, we would like to thank the private sector and the other stakeholders in the two industries for their cooperation in helping us ensure accessible and affordable food for consumers. For this year, we are guided by a new and more comprehensive strategy, which we are confident will ensure adequate food supply throughout the year and profitable opportunities for our farmers and fisher folks. Under the 1DA agenda, as we call it, we will be doubling down on various aspects in the sector to address short-term supply issues and threats, while at the same time building the fundamentals that will help us achieve a food-secure Philippines with globally competitive farms in the long run. One effort under the agenda is clustering small parcels of farms into larger scale farms. This will allow better management, more organized and streamlined distribution of resources and allocation of support from farm inputs to technical assistance. We are also encouraging each province to explore the most commercially viable commodity they can produce and sell, not only in local markets, but in foreign markets as well. This will allow the concentration of resources on proven high-income generating products and give provinces the opportunity to gain popularity for producing that certain crop in high quality. We will also establish more agri-industrial business corridors, or ABCs, in economically strategic locations. ABCs will attract investors and locators to develop and gain from their business while promoting a prosperous community of farmer cooperative associations and other stakeholders in the business corridor. We have started efforts in establishing the first agro-industrial hub in Subic-Clark Economic Corridor, and we hope to position the Taguig Food Terminal with the same prominence. We will invest in infrastructure, namely farm-to-market roads, trading centers, fish ports, as well as post-harvest processing and cold chain facilities. Moreover, we will ensure that they will be put to optimum utilization and not drain public funds to waste by ensuring that their design and establishment factor in the key markets and sectors they are to serve. Under our 1DA agenda, We will also invest in increasing non-planting activities such as post-harvest and processing, logistics, and marketing, which are equally important in ensuring the unimpeded flow of food. The importance of scaling up capacity in these activities was highlighted especially during the strict quarantine last year, when swift action from the DA and other government agencies were critical in bringing adequate food supply to consumers and ensuring farmers have incomes. We are also taking a more proactive approach in providing stakeholder support in production and supply monitoring by organizing our production data and delivering this to stakeholders in a timely manner. We can help them avoid oversupply, post-harvest wastage, and depressed farm gate prices, all of which spiral into bigger problems such as food shortage and price spike. We are also intensifying efforts towards farmers and fisher folks to take advantage of government's assistance, such as cash, subsidized credit, and crop insurance subsidized. Support like this will help reinvigorate investments in the sector, from production to non-farm agribusiness endeavors. We at the DA are also making significant strides toward the Agriculture 4.0, which will pave the way for our envisioned modernized Philippine agriculture. We continue to roll out high-quality hybrid seeds, distribute drones that allow better management, and even expand the presence of our e-Kadiwa, our online food-to-market program, which has massively helped in ensuring food supply in various localities during the quarantine. We will invest and deploy more resources in exploring and adapting technologies, both traditional ones and frontier technologies, to support our goal of higher productivity and efficiency. More importantly, we continue in our efforts of building a climate-resilient agriculture. While we at the DA have been facing a myriad problems that require our immediate attention, we have never lost sight in transforming the sector to be environmentally sustainable and resilient to climate disasters, which have always stunted the sector's growth. We continue to widen the impact of our adaptation and mitigation initiative in agriculture, or AMIA program, through which we empower communities to farm sustainably. We also continue to promote the use of climate risk vulnerability assessment tools, which help investors design strategies that already factor in environmental risk and adopt technologies that to manage this risk. We are also streamlining our services and processes to ensure that no action is delayed, especially if such action is of urgent nature and concerns our stakeholders. We continue to ensure that we provide maximum ease in doing business in order for stakeholders not to be disincentivized by red tapes. Moreover, we are beefing up our awareness and education campaign in order for more farmers and fisher folks to benefit from our programs and projects. Through expanding our reach, we are also driving inclusive growth. Lastly, as our one-day agenda suggests, from its name, we are building stronger collaborations with government agencies and private stakeholders, academia, farmers and fisher folks, and even the youth. Because if there's one important thing we learned during the pandemic, it is working in coordination with other groups in society. Thank you very much and a wonderful day to all of us. God bless us all.
Yes, very good, Secretary. I thought you gave as an in-depth story as you can in in an online program. Secretary, a lot of questions are asked about food security. Certainly, as during the middle of the crisis, this is one further thing we don't want to have to worry about. What is the situation on food security in the Philippines, in your opinion?
Thank you, Richard. Yes, Philippine food security, in brief, could be characterized as it's a challenging year again for the Philippines to ensure food security for every Filipino. So what we are doing is to really elevate the levels of food production in most of the commodity industries that we have, so that whatever will be lacking or the deficiency levels will be sourced from the outside. You know pretty well that even presently the country is a food importing country because we don't produce yet 100% much of the food requirements in the Philippines. So ensuring food security requires three to four areas of sourcing your food. Number one, again, is to really elevate local food production. That's foremost our long-term strategy, and it has to be started with more investments, more budgetary support, and harnessing the power of science and technology to prop up productivity. The second part would be to, if you can mobilize from, there will be some deficiencies in one area, but surpluses in another area. So the strategy is to see to it that we mobilize food from surplus areas and to be marketed in the deficit areas or provinces. The third one is what we call food diversification in many ways. For example, pork today. There are many protein sources, not only pork. Yeah. Like, of course, you have chicken, you have fish, like tilapia and bangus, and even vegetable legumes. So food diversity is also part of the strategy of ensuring food security. And the last resort is always supply augmentation from other countries by importation. So again, this should be how we should be tackling this goal of ensuring food security for the country.
And maybe a last question, Secretary. Whenever I speak to economists, people like Bernie Villegas over, they always point to the agriculture sector as key to the Philippine economy. Can you explain why they always say that for people and me?
Yes, I always believe that food is inelastic. I mean, every Filipino eats food, eats rice, eats fish, eats meat, So the demand is inelastic. And at this point in time of the COVID-19 pandemic, this food industry will always be needed, will always survive. And that's the reason why many of the economists would tell that this is one pillar of the economy that must be supported strongly so that we can even unlock the potential of this sector, not only contributing 9% to the gross domestic product of the country, but higher level. So there are many employment opportunities created. 1/3 of the jobs are in agriculture. So if we sustain that, the various agricultural enterprises, then more and more of the people will get opportunity to get employed as well. So we have to generate more from also doing this export-orientedness, because there are things, there are commodity industries that we can produce enough as well, so that the surplus production properly planned must have to go to export markets. So yes, agribusiness is one major strategy to unlock the potential of the sector. You can encourage the younger generation to come and see to it that, yes, they will be able to contribute their talents, their expertise this early. We have a younger population now in the country as compared to other countries in the world. So we need to tap the power of the younger generations. Their minds are, I mean, they have all good ideas. If these are properly, skewed or diverted towards agriculture, then we can see the explosion in terms of the food production that we can possibly have in this country.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Secretary. Very nice to see you, and please keep up the great work you are doing, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much again, Richard, and the rest of the team. May God continue to bless us all. Marami pong salamat.
Okay, we welcome our final and, in my opinion, kind of a highlight speaker of the event, our friend Art TUGADE, the Secretary of Transportation, and such a big figure in every way in the economy. All eyes are on the transportation and infrastructure programs that he is overseeing. So we're really pleased to have him. And welcome for a heck of a good speaker, he always is. Welcome, Secretary Art TUGADE. Welcome, Secretary.
To all the men and women of the Asia CEO Forum, I extend to you my greetings of respect and good day. To my fellow Filipinos, to the ladies and gentlemen now on virtual participation with the Asia CEO Forum, to all of you, good morning. You know, it's nice to be back. It's a good feeling always to be back and to be back home. And I must tell you this. Why do I say it's nice to be back? Because every time I come and when we end our engagement, there is always a feeling of comfort, glee, and happiness on my part that I have come and participated. Today, I expect no less of the result, but today, I hope and I wish that you, the audience, especially those of the CEO Forum, you, the audience, will say after our engagement, it is a well-informed, well-engaged dialogue, and therefore we end this dialogue very happy. On that note, allow me to make my presentation. When we assumed office, when President Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte assumed office, his marching order to his cabinet member was very simple. He said, to each and every one of us, make the Filipino life comfortable and convenient. If you are to look at your grammar, you will see that it is a very simple message indeed. One subject, one predicate, one message. Very accurate. But how do you implement this? That is the issue. That is the question, because implementing it will not be as easy as it is said. And why do I say this? You know, if you were to look back at the time before President Rodrigo Roa Duterte assumed office, you will see that on the matter of airport our own MIA was classified in many newspapers, in many dialogues, in many forums. They said the Manila International Airport is one of the world's worst airports. That was the situation at NAIA. Coupled to this, there were additional factors that make it the worst international airport. You know, you will see overcrowded terminals. You will see that there were delays in the travel. You will see that people were complaining. In fact, there was even that issue of laglag bala. Remember that issue, Richard, of laglag bala? When people will have to be set aside by the airport and said, wait a minute until we clear the issue of how a bullet got into your pockets. That was the issue then. It was chaotic. It was problematic. Perhaps there was a reason for various forums to say that indeed NAIA was one of the world's worst airports. That was the situation then. Let us take a look at the railways. Railways, there was always a numerous breakdown. Breakdown here, breakdown there. There was even a time when one of the traveling train overshoot. You know, you remember that, Richard? It overshoot the railways. And there was a serious accident that happened. On top of that, there were delays. And it was moving so slow that they were saying our MRT transport was this slow train to Metro Manila. Those were the issues there. There were dysfunctional air conditioning units. There were not operational the escalators, as there were non-operating elevators. Again, what do you have? A train that is moving 25 kilometers per hour. The slow train of Metro Manila, indeed. We have seen what was the airport then. We have seen what was the railway now. Let us take a look at the roads. What do you have in the roads? There was even an issue where cars were traveling without plate numbers. There were even issues where drivers cannot even secure their driver's license. You know, the driver's license then was not the laminated plastic-covered license, but a simple piece of paper, which is an acknowledgement receipt, not short. That was the issue then. In addition to that, there were issues of corruption at LTO and LTFRB. There were complaints on the road because of slow-moving vehicles. More importantly, what we had and what we have is what we call the carbon monoxide that was all over the environment because of units that were moving in what we term as road unworthy. Smoke belching here, smoke belching there. No brakes here, no brakes there. Dilapidated tires here, dilapidated tires here. There was even a misnomer which says the Philippines is a republican na walang plaka. You know, if you had the slow train to Metro Manila, if you had the worst airport, one of the worst airports in the world, and then they say you have a republic. Republican walang plaka. Let me take a look at the maritime sector. What did we have on the maritime sector? In addition to lacking ports, the ports that existed then, if not damaged, was completely inoperable. This was the situation then. Harassed, destroyed, harangued by typhoons and earthquakes. Look at the passenger terminal. There were limited capacity. Look at the queue and the line, not only in entering the ports, but also on riding the vessels. It was chaotic. It was problematic. This was the scenario when the president said, make the Filipino life convenient and comfortable. Tell me, Richard, given that scenario, is that easy to perform? Is that easy to do? No, sir. But nonetheless, we in the Department of Transportation accepted the challenge and said, yes, Mr. President, we will do our utmost best to make the Filipino life comfortable and convenient. And so we did our homework. Given this background and environment, what do we have now, Richard? Let me walk you through on certain things and certain avenues that will show that indeed this administration has addressed the sad plight of the transportation environment when we assumed office. Let us take a look at the railway sector. The MRT-3 rehabilitation was completed well in advance. That was supposed to be completed this year, but September last year, the railroad track placement had been completed. What are we doing now because of the railroad track placement? We have actually increased the operating speed of MRT-3 from a low 25 to a good 60 kilometers per hour. What does it mean? We have actually transformed what we call the turnaround time, the headway from what it was from 12 minutes to say 14 minutes. We have done, from 7 minutes, we have done 3.5 minutes. What does this mean? When you have an operating train, when you have an operating headway, coupled to that with the desired speed, you actually increase the passenger and the traveling capacity of the trains. And that is what we have done. Of late, of course, let us look at the situation prior to pandemic. Tell me, Richard, before the pandemic and before we assume, we were bombarded with issues almost daily. Breakdown here, breakdown there. Glitches here, glitches there. But then over time, we have reduced the breakdown as we have reduced the glitches. Why? Because we have improved the systems of operating train. And that is why we have flash on the screen. You can see the rehabilitation that has been done. When we assume there was no spare parts, when we assume we had a lousy railway tracks, now I am happy to say, people of the Philippines, you have an MRT that is on the way to a competitive system, to way to accommodating more passenger capacity. Oh, how I wish that the pandemic is over so that we can achieve what we want to achieve, and that is 600,000 riding passengers over time. And you can see this would have been the drama in the passenger capacity. Let us look at the escalators and the elevators. Suppose I tell you, Richard, that we have actually completed all rehabilitations of all escalators and elevators. Of course, the impact of this completion is not readily and strongly felt simply because of the pandemic. The traveling public is limited, not of our own making, But what is important is we have had improvements on the MRT-3. Accept it, and that is the truth. That is not false news. That is the real truth. But is the rail only about MRT-3? No, sir. There were other improvements, and there are other improvements that are coming forth in the rail sector. On April 26, Richard, we hope to make LRT2 extension operational. And what do I mean by the LRT2 extension? This is Antipolo and Marikina, and this has been pending for many years. And during the time of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, we say that on April 26, April 27, it will be operational. And what do we say now, Richard, as we say this? Generically, when we assume there were only around 77 kilometers of operating rails, today when we end the term of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, it is still our steadfast target and objective that we will end with 1,200 operating rails. And this will come in making South Rail Transport operational. This will come in making LRT2 operational. This will come in making the LRT1 extension that will cover from Sucat to Cavite operational before the end of the term of the president. A lot more is bound to happen. You know, have you heard of I hope you have heard of the tunnel boring machine. I hope you have heard about the Manila subway. This is the icing on the cake on the real performance of the term of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. The Manila subway station will be partly operational at best by December of this year, at worst by the first quarter of next year. When I say operational, I mean it will be operational in Valenzuela, where you have the station there. Well, it is Valenzuela because you have the depot. It is in Valenzuela because you have the Philippine Railway Institute. What is the Philippine Railway Institute? As you adopt system, as you adopt structure, you've got to have training, education, continuing at that. And that is why we have the Philippine Railway Institute, wherewith it is assumed that no one can participate and operate in our subway and trains if you are not certificated in the Philippine Railway Institute. In other words, we are now marrying system, education, and training with the facilities we put up, with the processes we formulate. When you have this, you will have a program which in the Philippines you will not say Ninga Sugon. It will hopefully it will stay for a longer period for the Filipino to be comfortable and for the Filipino to be convenient. This is the overall package we want in the railway system. Let us take a look and let us take a peek at the aviation and airports. You know, if I tell you that, Richard, we have actually completed 121 airport projects and ongoing 114 ongoing projects, and 75 more are on the procurement stage. What exactly do we mean when we say about airport projects? When we speak of airport projects, we refer to the airports as a whole, complete with runway, taxiway, and apron. We speak of terminal. That is a complete airport. But other projects at the airport involve improving the runway, improving the taxiway, improving the apron. It includes improving the terminal. All this are the gamut of improvements being done in the airport sector. And you will see that as we do these airport improvements, I can touch later on what airports are we moving on. Let me touch about safety. Richard, when we assume, did you know that there were only 3 radars in the Philippines? Yes, my friend, look at you, how you react. You said, really now? Yes, sir, really now. And what are we doing now insofar as radar system is concerned? We have added 10 more radars to total 13 radars in the 2.5 years that we have been here. And this radar system is housed in a world-class CNS ATM building, where our airspace becomes safer, it minimizes flight delay, and improve overall travel experience. What is the importance here? One of the importance here, Richard. Before any planes can travel, they don't even pay fees. Now, no one can travel without us noticing the travel. It is safe, it is secure, it is more deliberate and more punctual. And at the same time, we can charge fees, and it becomes a self-generating expense. But as we do this, there are specific airport improvements that are being done. You can go to NAIA. Of course, we talk about NAIA, and they said, what happened now to the unsolicited proposal? No unsolicited proposal, no improvements on NAIA. No unsolicited proposal, correct. No improvement in NAIA, wrong. Because even without the unsolicited proposal, we are continuously doing the improvements. In fact, barely 3 weeks or almost 3 weeks when we decided no more unsolicited proposal, we upgraded and we inaugurated runway 1331. Well, we said, okay now, ladies and gentlemen of the Philippines, here is a new upgraded and renovated 1331 runway. That is without the unsolicited proposal. Of course, it is limited. But of course, certainly so, Richard, because it is an improvement. And so there are things that are being done and will be done to address the requirements of NAIA terminal so that we do not address it, not only in terms of passenger movement, but more importantly, in terms of convenience, in terms of safety and security for the traveling public, for those inside the warehouse, and for the cargoes that goes in and out of the airports. But as we do NAIA Terminal 2, we go into a more interesting improvement of the Clark International Airport. The terminal on Clark International Airport is already complete. It will have an additional capacity of 8 million. This additional capacity of 8 million, Richard, will increase the operating capacity of Clark to 12.2 million passengers annually. You can see the dramatic change insofar as passenger capacity is concerned. Oh, how I wish you can visit the Clark International Airport Terminal 2 and say, true indeed, we are getting world class. We are getting world class. And in this Clark International Airport, we will marry this with a train system traveling express from Makati to the airport, and then you can be at that airport on, say, 45 to 55 minutes. That is the travel time at the Clark International Airport. The Clark International Airport is targeted to be operational, listen to this, by mid-June of this year. Isn't that fun? Isn't that funny? Isn't that exciting? Of course, you can say, when we say this, wow, wow, wow. So we can speak of Clark, it is there. The Bicol International Airport. This has been pending for years and years and years. As of March of this year, we have already around 75% completion. It will be described as the most scenic gateway in that part of the Philippines. Targeted completion and operation is the first quarter of 2021, but I doubt whether they will be able to finish that. I am pushing and pushing hard that it be the first quarter of 2021. But realities considered, especially the water that drips from the high heavens when there is typhoon, maybe I can complete this by June of this year. It's still being able to complete this after many, many years of delay. Then you can say perhaps, hey, you guys are doing your job. Oh, thank you very much. We are doing our job. This is Bicol International Airport. Let me just add a footnote. Bicol is one of the areas in the Philippines where it is not politically aligned to the present administration. Are you aware of that, Richard? Why are we pushing projects even in areas that are not politically aligned to the administration of President Duterte? Why, Richard? Because we want to show to all that the political development and economic growth program of Philippine Duterte is not tainted with political color. It is for the entire Philippines, for all the Filipinos, regardless of your political affiliation and political color. And this is what is the significance of the Bicol International Airport. Later on, I will show you that we will marry this development with the South Rail development, and you will have a railway development also in Bicol. You have the airport and you have the rails. Again, please give us a double wow, because we are doing an economic program that is not tainted and aligned with political affiliations. There are other projects. You have heard about the Bulacan Airport. Projects and movements are being done now. Even as we are quiet, even as Mr. Ramon Ang and the DOTR is quiet, works are being done at the Bulacan International Airport. We have originally scheduled to do some groundbreaking ceremony earlier, but because of the pandemic issues and because of personal issues that have been on our way, hopefully we can do it formal inauguration by April, May of this year. But notwithstanding the absence of a formal inauguration, let it be said and let it be known that there are works going on right now at the Bulacan International Airport. This is an airport targeted to accommodate 100 million to 200 million passengers annually. Hopefully, the entire project shall be completed in 4 to 6 years. And so you will see a lot of improvements all over the place. I'll tell you this. I think on March 11 of this year, we will be going to Dumaguete and formally open and inaugurate some of the programs being done there in relation to improving the terminal. There are other airport projects. We have the annual report being prepared. Richard, not being prepared, already done and finished. We can share this with you. And if you can tell us your numbers, we are willing to give you a bundle for you to share it with the men and women of the Asia CEO Forum. Just let us know and it will be there. So we have talked about aviation. We have talked about the rails. Let us take a look at the road environment, the road situation. Republikang walang plaka, translated in English, plateless republic no more. We are plateless republic no more. We have now the plates. We have now the licenses. Before, the plates are manufactured abroad. Now, the plates are manufactured here, and we have an automated process. We have, I call it the ID robot, that can produce up to 5,600 plates in an 8-hour shift per day. You can just imagine the speed and the capacity wherewith we can produce and develop these required plates. Hopefully, before the end of President Duterte, we would have addressed even the issues that pervaded and existed prior to 2016. Licenses renewal. Licenses renewal. Licenses are being done right now. But let us look at certain things that are being done and will be done on the road. Have you heard of the EDSA Greenways project, phase 1? This will enhance pedestrian facilities around key railway stations along EDSA. This will include, but not limited to, covered elevated walkways connecting railway stations to and from nearby amenities and other transport facilities. Phase 1 covers 4.6 kilometers. Pedestrian capacity is 1 million. Partial operation is targeted. Again, listen to this, Richard. It's targeted to be December 2021. Full operation, February 2023. We will change not only the landscape scenario of EDSA, but we will make pedestrian walking and travel active transport system more manageable and realizable. These are the things being done. Of course, you have heard about the dedicated transport system. Remember now, if you have passed EDSA, there is a dedicated lane for bus, the P2P and everything. Simple concept, simple idea, but the effect is so huge because it afforded mobility and facility along EDSA, helping the movement reduce traffic system. And it's good. So in addition to this, we'll be connecting the railways with the road and in connection. Alam mo ba, Richard, let me speak in Tagalog so I grope for my English statement again. Alam mo ba, Richard, na merong bike lane na ngayon yung mga railway station? Meaning to say, you can bike to the railway station, park your railway there, lock it. When you come back, use it and boom and go. And speaking of bike on the rails, we have projects to develop the bike lanes together with the public works, who are playing a very important role, and the MMDA. Soon, we hope we can finalize our program and plans related to the bike lane, so that what we have now is, in addition to the traditional public transport system, we will add active transport ways like walking and biking. And then you will have integratable transport system. Why? Because we want to achieve what President Duterte said, make the Filipino life comfortable and convenient. How many more minutes do I have? You're smiling. But are the development or is the development only limited to EDSA? No, sir, no, sir, no, ma'am. We have projects also related to improving the road system and the road anatomy in Cebu and in Davao. In Cebu, we have the Cebu Bus Rapid Transit System. This will have a capacity of 6,000 passengers daily. It covers 13.2 kilometers. We are actively pushing and pushing to be able to start this, and I am sure that starting it is along the immediate horizon. Again, you know, Richard, I am fond of making very challenging targets. I want this to be partially operational on 3 streets or 3 stations by December of 2021. Again, full operation with the cooperation of the local government. We can complete this by May of 2022. That is in Cebu. Let's take a look at what we are doing in Davao. May I wait for the screen? The Davao Public Transport Modernization Program. And then this is a system where it includes Metro Davao, Davao Inter, Davao Feeder 65, and Davao Local. All this we intend to be operational by 2021. What are we doing now? We are doing the ongoing engineering and parcellary and ground investigation survey. The local government, personally, by Mayor Sara Duterte, is really having a hands-on involvement here so that Davao in Mindanao can have the experience and the comfort and the convenience of having a transport modernized project. Hopefully, all hands on board, we will be able to make this operational within this year, partially. And so you see, we have an entire gamut of projects for aviation, for rails, for road. Maybe the time to ask now is, what the heck? What about the maritime sector? Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen of the CEO Forum. We have already completed, as of today and as we speak, 424 completed projects, which include 215 commercial ports and 209 social tourism ports. The Philippines is an archipelago. In order that you have mobility and convenience, you must be able to interconnect all the ports and islands in this archipelagic setup. And to be able to do this is to have the ports. And that is why silent pushing, silent priority, and silent results have produced 424 completed projects. I salute the men and women of the maritime sector, headed by no less by the General Manager of PPA J. Santiago, the Philippine Coast Guard by Ursabia, the Marina by Empedran. All these men and women, whether it is sunshine or sunset, whether it is clear weather or sunny and typhoon, they are there working and working silently without the benefit of the click lights and the rushing media. This is the result of their quiet work. Oh, how I wish you guys can travel and see for yourselves the improvements they have done in the various ports. Let me just highlight Cagayan de Oro. Cagayan de Oro, you know, you have there a capacity of 3,000 passengers. Never before you have a terminal, passenger terminal that has the capacity of 3,000 and fully aircon. How I wish you guys can visit this. If you have a classic airport arrangement, you have a classic seaport terminal. And this is not just one. We are striving to achieve by the end of President Duterte's term, another 2 or 3 more terminals of this nature. Why? Because we want to make the Filipino life convenient and comfortable. Oh, how I wish you can travel and see for yourselves the efforts in creating cruise ports. You know, you go to the north, you go to the south, you will see cruise vessels, you know, now berthing in our waters because they find the comfort and convenience of berthing their maritime vessels and ships in the waters of the Philippines. Travel, 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 men and women of the CEO Forum. See for yourselves the improvement. It does not mean that if the maritime sector have been quiet on what they have done nothing. Ma'am, sir, they have done much more. And if you speak of port developments, the lighthouses, how many lighthouses have been completed? You know, when we assume lighthouses, either they serve as a dilapidated structure, non-operating structure, or structures used for purposes other than for which it was intended. Lighthouses are used as a navigation tool. And therefore we said unto ourselves, before we end our term, we will complete and finish more than 400 renovated lighthouses so that you will see not only a tourism attraction, but more importantly, you will see a structure that will help in the safe and convenient navigation in Philippine water. A lot more I would like to say, but I know that time is limited. How I wish, you know, you can invite me again. I enjoy being with you guys. Perhaps to do justice to what we are doing by sector, I will just speak for one particular sector, you know, just one sector. Then you will invite me again. I will speak for another sector. Then you will invite me the third time and the fourth time and one sector, so that we can cover not only the generic performances of this sector, but we can do into the nitty-gritty performances of this sector. The President said, make the Filipino life comfortable and convenient. There are things that are to be addressed as a low-hanging fruit, which I dare say at this time, we address the low-hanging fruit. To make the Filipino life comfortable and convenient, we have to do medium-term program as we have to do long-term programs. Ladies and gentlemen of the CEO Forum, we have medium-term program, long-term program to address the need. If you are to make the Filipino life comfortable, there must be mobility and there must be connectivity. As I speak today, I have presented to you in generic terms the connectivity and the mobility that the Department of Transportation has laid on the platform and on the grounds to make the Filipino life comfortable. In addition, and I will not get tired mentioning this, as we wallow into the luxury of structures, we should always marry this with certain ways of doing things, so that you will have the comfort not only of enjoying the structures, but enjoying it on a convenient and peaceful way. What am I trying to say? As we do all these physical structures, I assure to you that you have a Department of Transportation in all four sectors that do not tolerate corruption. We are following the mandate of the President of the Republic, Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte, who said absolutely there should be no corruption. As we trade and pursue these projects, there will be no corruption. The President said reduce processing time. What used to take 6 months, now we take 1 month. What used to be 1 month, now we take 1 week. And we will continue to improve processes by reducing it to bare 24 hours. So as we say, there is no corruption, there is reduced processing time, there is a structure, there is facility. Indeed, we have the chemistry for making the Filipino life comfortable and convenient. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be with you today. On that note, I hope to be able to interact with you. Sans COVID. We now have the vaccination, but even with the vaccination, let us not forget the protocols of safety. Wear your mask and shield as I am wearing. maintain social distancing, respect each other, respect the government. The government has nothing else in mind but the safety of the Filipino people. As the President said, if all are not safe, we are not safe. Thank you very much and good morning.
Art, that was just wonderful. And now, Art, maybe if I could ask just a question or two, but Art, we hear reports about your work schedule and how many hours that you work. And, Art, you and I, neither of us are spring chickens, and we both have to make sure we're healthy. You're looking after your health, are you? And your wife is making you eat properly and so forth.
That's why I was wearing shield. Look at my eye bag, you call it. Look at my eye bag. It's huge. I have to wear shields. But I'll tell you this, Richard, and I think this is the first time you will hear this from me. You are absolutely right. You are absolutely correct. We are not spring chicken. But remember, the thing that I am in right now, if I consider this work, I would have been gone long time ago. But this is now a matter of advocacy and commitment. If this is work, I'm underpaid. If this is work, I'm gone, But this is advocacy. This is a commitment for the Filipino people. You are right. Time is one luxury which we do not have. I cannot be measuring my time on the basis of normal measurement right now. I do not have the time. I have to finish as much as I could and as best as I can.
Yes, hear, Secretary. Very, very inspiring. Now, Secretary, all the work that you're doing now, another concern we have is continuity. Do you have people in place that can continue these projects? Because your term may end.
Let me tell you a story.
Okay.
I have two executives right now who are undersecretary. Like me, their appointment are coterminous with mine. But 1 year after I have assumed office, I said, why don't you work, make sure that you become civil service eligible, so that even when I'm gone, you stay. I will train you as best as I know. You can take the education as you can get. And I have wonderful USEC, where I am sure, even when I'm gone, they will continue. That is insofar as the local Department of Transportation is concerned. On the national score, very simple, without being political at this time. Elect people and choose people that will continue with the projects that we have started. We have to have continuity. And in order to have continuity, let me say, I have introduced this concept of partial operability. Before you have projects, you can only use it when it is fully completed. But many times the big project take more than the term of the sitting president. So I introduced the concept of partial operability, so that like the subway, partially operable, if it works, do you think they will have the temerity to stop the project? People have seen it, social media will witness it. Do you think people will have the temerity to say, stop the project? That is one of the strategy which we have adopted. But the lasting strategy is, you choose people that will continue the projects of President Duterte. I hope I'm not political at this time.
No, okay, very, very good. And now all the projects you have in mind, Secretary, these, like you said, many of them are long-term projects. How much longer do you think, to finish all the major projects that you started? Is another 5 years, 7 years?
Let me state one reality. Improvement never stops. I will repeat, improvement never stops. Good projects and better projects never stop. It should not stop. And therefore, the challenge of having people to continually be put in that paradigm must continually be there. You are correct. There are projects that we can finish within our term. There are projects that hopefully will have to continue beyond our term. Why? Because of the processes, of approval. Hopefully this will end. But the administration, the new administration that will come in, will not only take care of the projects which we have started, but must also continue with their own improved and better projects. Good things never end. Improved projects should never stop.
I see. Well, Art, we wish you so well, and so glad to see you're so full of energy. We, Rebecca and I, we talk about you sometimes, and we always wish you the best, of course. But you look good. I gotta say, you look good. You had a good color. You sound good. I mean, you must be ready to go another long time. Maybe.
I look good, but I may take exception and qualification to the last statement you made.
Okay. Well, Secretary, thank you so much again for being with us. And everybody wishes you well, and keep up the fantastic work. It's so exciting that the reports that everyone's hearing.
Asia CEO Forum, salamat. Richard, salamat.
Well, that was Asia CEO Forum Economy Update 2021. Really glad to have you with us, and such interesting stories. There's a lot going on, everyone, so hang in there. We know it's tough. There's a lot of people who are having difficulty, but there's a lot of good things happening as well. Infrastructure. I mean, TUGADE, Art, always just a wonderful guy, and the amazing things that he is doing. William Dar, the things that are happening in agriculture, the big opportunities we have there for the nation, and tourism. If you're in the tourism industry, hang in there, because there's good things going to be coming. It's going to take a little while yet, but that has such a big opportunity for all of us. So until the next time, that was Asia CEO Forum Economy Update 2021, and see you again soon.
Asia,